welcome back to my channel. I don't know about where you are, but here it's starting to get too cold too quick. So I figured it was probably time to start looking at some additional winter type projects. Yes, I said the word winter. And what I have here is a really quick and easy throw blanket pattern that I think is really a nice pattern. I'm also going to show you some really fun yarn that I found that I wanted to use to make this pattern with, so hopefully you get as excited over it as I did. The thing I like best about this pattern is usually if you're doing a really quick and easy pattern, it's like maybe 1 or 2 stitches, it's all double crochets all the way across or something like that. But this truly is very easy, yet you can see it has a really nice pattern in it that I think makes it more interesting than maybe a traditional quick and easy throw. So I really hope you enjoy it, and hopefully you can do this soon. So let's get started here. Oh my goodness, you guys, look at this. It doesn't even fit in my video window. It is so big. I found this the other day. This is a huge ball of yarn. This is a Karen anniversary cake, and it is really big. Let's see what it says. This is a super bulky. It's actually, what is it? Over 1,000 yards. So you can see this is really big. And this is what I'm going to use for today's project. Now you can also see this recommends an 8mm crochet hook. And I'm probably going to use close to this whole big thing. It is so big. It's really exciting. So that is the first thing I'm going to use. I'm trying to squish that down so you can see it. Can you tell I'm excited about this? Yay! All right. And then as far as a hook is concerned, like I said, the yarn recommends an 8mm. But for this pattern, what we're looking for is for 8 stitches across to be about 8 inches. Nope. Let me try that again. Your 8 stitches across to be about 4 inches. Now I tend to be a little tight with my stitches, and I know this. So I did a little swatch ahead of time, and for me, I'm actually going to use this 11.5mm hook. You don't have to. Use anywhere, 8mm and up. Depending on what you need based on your crochet style to reach that gauge. Unless you don't care about the gauge, unless you don't care about how big it is, you can add more chains if you just want to use the 8mm to make it wider if those stitches are too small for you. But I kind of went by that 8 stitches equal 4 inches, and for me it's going to be the 11.5, but you figure out where you'd like to do for that and use that crochet hook. You're also going to need a tapestry needle for weaving in your ends, and of course a pair of scissors. And that's going to be our fun materials for today's project. So let's go ahead and get started. I went ahead and have a little bit of a head start here. I already did my starting chain, and I have a chain of 87 here. Now, this is the width that I want for this throw, but if you want a different width, longer, shorter, whichever way you want, you just need to make sure that what you're doing is a multiple of 12 to start with. And then once you reach the multiple of 12 that you'd like, you need to add 3 more at the end. So my multiple of 12 is 84. I needed to add 3 more at the end. That's why I have 87. The other thing just to keep in mind, which I mentioned earlier about the hook size, etc., is you just want to make sure, if you want to keep the same gauge as what I'm doing in this video, you just want to make sure that your 8 stitches equal about 4 inches. So that's kind of what I'm gauging that on here. So if you do that, you'll pretty much match me unless you change your starting number of chains, etc. So what we want to do first is a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. So here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So in that fourth chain from the hook, go ahead and do a double crochet. Now, when you look at this, you'll see those 3 chain here. That's going to count as a double crochet. So we now have 2 double crochets, and we're going to go for 7 total. So we want to add 5 more double crochets. So here is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I have, including that 3 chain at the beginning, I have a total of 7 double crochets. And I should mention what we're doing now is what I'll call a foundation row, a row just to get the pattern started, and then we'll actually start rows 1, 2, 3 after this foundation row. So you'll hear me refer to this as a foundation row. Now we're going to start the pattern that we will repeat across the whole row. So what we want to do is chain 1, skip 1, and then double crochet in the next chain. And we're going to do that 3 times. So here's the first time. We're going to chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next one. That's the second time. And we're going to chain 1, skip 1, and double crochet in the next one. And that's our third time. Now we are going to double crochet in the next 6 chain. So here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the part we just did is the chain 1, skip 1, double crochet 3 times, and then 6 double crochets. That part there you're going to repeat until the end of the row. And you're going to want to make sure you end the row with the chain 1, skip 1, double crochet pattern. If you did your multiples of 12 correctly, it should automatically come out that way. So I did a chain 1, I'm going to skip 1 and double crochet. We're just going to go through that one more time. And I'm doing this 3 times. So here's chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. That's number 2. Then I'm going to chain 1, skip 1, and double crochet in the next, and that's number 3. And now we're going to double crochet 6 times in the next 6 chain, I should say. So there's 1, here's 2, here's 3, here's 4, here's 5, and here's 6. Now you'll want to go ahead and repeat that pattern, like I said, all the way across your row, ending with this part, which is the chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, so you actually end on a double crochet. Do that all the way across, ending on that. When you get to the end, come back here and we'll talk about doing row 1. Okay, so you can see I went ahead and finished the foundation row. I did that alternation between the 6 double crochets and then the chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. And as I mentioned, I ended the row with the chain 1, skip 1, double crochet all the way to the end, so I have a double crochet in my last chain there. So that's the end of the foundation row. Now what we're going to do is go ahead with row 1. And I am going to start row 1 with an alternative turning chain. If you're not sure what this is, you can take a look at the link in the description box below, where I have a pretty quick video on how to do an alternative turning chain. I just like it better than just a chain there, because I think it's a little bit more stable. If you're not comfortable with that and you prefer to just do a turning chain there, that's fine. What you'll need is a chain 4, because you'll want the 3 chain to represent the double crochet there, and then a 1 chain to go across here. So I have the alternative turning chain, and then I'm going to chain 1. And what we're going to do basically is repeat the pattern from the row before. So I have that chain 1, I'm skipping this here and doing a double crochet right in the double crochet from the row before. And then I'll chain 1 again, and then double crochet in the double crochet from the row before. Oops, and 1 more time. So there. And we're going to double crochet in the double crochet from the row before. Okay, so you can see I've just copied the pattern from the row before. And now we're going to do our 6 double crochet from the row before. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and then you'll continue repeating that. So right from the row before, you'll do a chain 1, skip 1, double crochet all the way across, your 6 double crochet all the way across, and continue doing that all the way until the end of the row. And when you get to the end of the row, come back here and we'll talk about row 2. So here I've completed row 1. So you have your foundation row and then row 1, and you can see that it's the same pattern as the row previous, so that should match up all the way across. And now we are going to do row 2. So go ahead and turn your work. You can either do a chain 3 or an alternative turning chain. I am going to do my alternative turning chain. Okay, and then you'll want to go ahead and do pretty much the exact same thing. So go ahead and do the 6 double crochets on top of the double crochets from the row previous. Here is number 6. All right, so you have 7 total there, like we did the foundation row. Okay, and now go ahead and follow that pattern all the way across. So now we're at the chain 1. You're going to skip that chain and do a double crochet into the double crochet. Then chain 1. Well, that didn't come out right. Let me fix that. Finish that double crochet, then chain 1, skip that chain and do a double crochet in that double crochet, chain 1, skip the chain, do a double crochet in the next double crochet, and then 6 double crochets all the way across. Continue to do that exact same pattern all the way until you get to the end. When you get to the end, we'll talk about row 3. Okay, there is the finished row 2. You can see foundation row, row 1, and row 2 all have the same pattern. You can also see the next color in this yarn starting to come through, which is really pretty. Let's go ahead and do row 3, and surprise, surprise, row 3 is going to match the pattern from the row before. So I'll start with my alternative turning chain, and then I'll do a chain 1. Again, if you don't want to do the alternative turning chain, just do 4 chain there. And then I will do a double crochet in the previous double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the previous double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the previous double crochet. Oops, got a hair there. Okay. Then your 6 double crochet, and then just go ahead and repeat that, matching the pattern from the row before all the way across. And those are going to be your 3 rows once you finish this that we're going to repeat. But go ahead and finish row 3, get all the way to the end. When you get to the end, I'll meet you back here and we'll talk about next steps to do the repeats for the rest of the throw. Okay, so we have completed row 3. There's our foundation row, and then row 1, 2, and 3. And as you notice, it's the same pattern over and over again right there. Here's where things are going to get interesting, because we are going to repeat rows 1, 2, and 3 until the end of the throw, which is going to be about 48 inches long. So let's go ahead and turn, and I'll show you what happens now when we repeat rows 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to start with a repeat of row 1. Go ahead and do your alternative turning chain or chain 4, because chain 4 is going to be the chain 3 for the double crochet and a chain 1. So I did an alternative turning chain, and I'm going to chain 1. Now, if you recall, one part of the pattern is the chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. That's what we're going to do here. So I did a chain 1, we're going to skip 1, and we're going to double crochet 3 times, right? Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, that's 2 times. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. There is 3 times. So we're doing now, since it's 3 rows and you're going to alternate 3 rows, what you'll see is that it'll be the exact opposite of what we just did. So now what we need to do, row 1 calls for you to do 6 double crochets. And what we'll need to do, since there's a space here, you'll have to do double crochets in the space, right? So go ahead and do a double crochet in the space. There's 1. A double crochet in the next double crochet, that's 2. Double crochet in the space, that's 3. Double crochet in the next double crochet, that's 4. Okay, double crochet in the space, that's 5, and then a double crochet in the next double crochet, that's 6. Again, see if you can see that, that's the opposite of what we had here. Here's the 6 double crochet. So there's the spaces where we had double crochets, and double crochets where we had spaces. So now let's repeat. Chain 1, skip 1, 1 double crochet. Oh, I'm running out of yarn here, 1 second. Get some more yarn. Okay. Then chain 1, skip 1, 1 double crochet. And chain 1, skip 1, 1 double crochet. All right, so just the opposite. Then you'll do your 6 double crochets, which will require you to do 1 in the space, 1 in the double crochet, 1 in the space, 1 in the double crochet, 1 in the space, and 1 in the double crochet. Okay, so you can see it's the exact opposite again of what we did before. So go ahead and repeat this pattern all the way across, right? You should see it's always the opposite. So here's going to be the chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. Here's going to be your 6 double crochets, etc., all the way across. And then what we'll do is we'll repeat, do rows 2 and 3, which is a repeat of this. So you'll have 3 rows of this pattern. And then when you go back to row 1 again, it'll be the opposite again. It'll go back and forth and back and forth. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do rows 1, 2, and 3, which is a repeat of this for 2 more rows. And then I'll meet you back here and we'll take a look at what that looks like. Okay, so I have finished rows 1, 2, and 3. And here is what you can see. I have the 3 rows of the chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, and the 6 double crochets, and that completely alternates from the 3 rows before. So it's going to be a nice back and forth pattern. What you'll do now is go ahead and start with row 1 again, which will be the exact opposite of what you have here. This is where we have our 6 double crochets. Instead, you'll do a double crochet and then a chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet like you would here. And then in your spaces, you're going to do your 6 double crochets. So it'll be exactly the opposite, and you'll do 3 rows of that. And you'll continue that pattern of the 3 rows until this gets to about 48 inches long. So go ahead and continue that back and forth pattern with the 3, excuse me, we're repeating the 3 rows, and we'll meet back here once it gets to that 48 inches. Now I should say, if you want it to be longer than that, you can continue to repeat the 3 rows additional times if you'd like to. Just keep in mind, of course, that it's going to require additional yarn, but I'm going to go for about 48 inches. So I'll do that, and I will see you back here. Okay, so you can see I have completed the main part of the throw. At this point, we just need to do a border, but I just wanted to show what this looks like. I think it is so pretty. I love the colors and how it came out with that anniversary cake. And you can see how this pattern, like the cube with the 3 parts, three rows, is all offset there. I just think that looks really pretty. It's a little bit more interesting than just a throw made of a bunch of double crochets, and it really makes for a beautiful pattern. So I know I said, I think I told you to continue with this pattern until you got to 48 inches. Since my ball of yarn was so huge, I did go a little bit further. I think I ended up with maybe 58 inches, I think. And one other thing I wanted to say, when you finish your repeats, you want to stop at row 2. So if you can see here, I only have 2 rows of the 3 squares there. Kind of hard to see. Just 2 rows of that instead of 3, so I stopped on row 2. And this row is what we're going to use now to put the border all around this row 2 row, and then if you remember, we started with a foundation row on the bottom. That's where our single crochets will go in those rows, in addition to along the side. So here's where I ended, and I am just going to do single crochet all the way around. If you want to do a different type of border, you can do that too. So to start this, I am going to chain 1 and turn this huge thing. All right, let's get this out of the way. Good. And then I'm just going to start doing a single crochet all the way across. Now to do this, because I'm on one of the rows with the squares here, we are going to do a single crochet in the very first stitch, and then this is where we have a chain 1. So go ahead and do a single crochet in where that chain 1 is. Now you're to the double crochet. Go ahead and do a chain 1 there. Do a single crochet in where you have the chain 1 space. Bring that in a little bit further. Okay, so chain 1 in the double crochet, chain 1 in that, or excuse me, single crochet in that chain 1 space, right? And now you're to where the double crochets are, so you'll continue the chain 1 all the way across, or excuse me, the single crochets all the way across, just like normal. And whenever you have that chain 1 space, just go ahead and do a single crochet right into that chain 1 space, so that you have this row of single crochets all the way across. Okay, here's the next chain 1 space. Just going to do a single crochet there. Wants to get stuck, right? And then continue doing this all the way across. As normal with border rows, when we get to the corner, we're going to do 3 single crochets in the corner, but go ahead and do your single crochets all the way across, and I'll meet you at that end and we'll talk about the corner and then going down along the sides. Okay, so here is the row of single crochets all the way across, and I love the offset of colors there too. And I am in the very last stitch of this row, and I'm going to go ahead in this last stitch and do 3 single crochets, and that will help round out the corner as we come around to do this side. Now, if you haven't stitched in the side before, you will notice that there's not really clear indications of where to do stitches like there is with V's, those V's on the top of a normal row. So the rule of thumb that I usually use is, if it's a single crochet row, I put 1 stitch in. If it's a double crochet row, I put 2 stitches in, etc. So it depends on the height of the row that you're putting a stitch into the side of. And if you recall this pattern, every row, whether it's got the spaces in them or not, are all double crochet rows. So every time we have a row here, if we focus on putting 2 stitches in the side of that row, that should work out pretty evenly. And then you do the same thing on the other side, then you'll have the same number of stitches on both sides when you get to that side. So I have the 3 stitches in the corner, and then this is the row we're on. Since we have those 3 stitches in the corner, I'm going to count that as one of the 2, and then I'm just going to put a second one in this side, and that takes care of row 1. Now we're on to row 2, and you see this is a double crochet row. Couple of things I would be careful about when putting stitches in the side. Don't just pick up 1 thread and put a stitch into that. You'll find that'll pull that thread because there's really no stability with 1. I would go ahead and put the stitch, or I should say the 2 stitches, right around, oops, I kind of did that, right around that double crochet, if you can see that. And you can do that pretty much all the way across, especially where you've got the spaces there, go ahead and put the 2 stitches around the outside all the way. And then go ahead and do that all the way down the side, 2 stitches in every row there. When you get to the end, which mine is long ways off here because I did mine longer. When you get to the end, go ahead in that last stitch there and put in 3 single crochets, because that'll be in the corner and that will round that corner out. And then if you remember, we have this foundation row, and you can go ahead and do single crochets all across that foundation row. Right? So when you have a chain 1 space, go ahead and put the single crochet there. Otherwise, put it where you have the double crochet. The foundation row is going to be easier because you'll see those V's like you did on the top. And then go ahead and do that all the way around, and I'll meet you back where we started, and we can talk about finishing this up. Okay, so we finished with our single crochets all the way around. Just to give you a little look of what that would look like. Finish that all the way around, and I'm back here at the beginning. I did the 2 of the 3 corner stitches. The first stitch that we made at the beginning would be our first of the 3 corner stitches. So now I am just going to slip stitch into that first stitch that we made, and this can be the end. If you'd like to finish this off here with the 1 row of single crochets as your border, you can then fasten this off and weave in your ends and be done. Now I happen to have still a lot of that yarn left from that big anniversary cake that I showed you. So I'm actually going to do 1 more row for all the way around for a border, and this time I'm actually going to do a half double crochet, and I'm going to do that all the way around with 3 in the corner stitches. And just to remind you, and you don't have to do this, this is just what I'm going to do. When you get to the corner, you want to find your 3 stitches that you put in the corner. So if you can see, there's the 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. And you'll want to go ahead and do your half double crochet, and in this middle one, which is right in the corner, do your 3 half double crochets and then continue on. And do that every time you have a corner. Find your 3 stitches that you put in the corner, and then in the middle one is where you want to do your 3 stitches this time around. So it's really important that you continue with your 3 in the corner. Again, you don't have to do this double crochet if you don't want to. You can stop right there. I still think it looks really nice with that 1 stitch all the way around. I just want, for me, since I have the extra yarn, I just want to you know, have a little bit thicker border all the way around, so that's what I'm going to do. So if you want to continue with that, you can do so. I'm just going to do a single chain, and then in that same stitch I'm going to start with a half double crochet. And by the way, that's the stitch that we did the join in when we did a slip stitch to join. That's the one I'm in right now. So there's my first half double crochet, and I'm going to continue with that in every stitch all the way around as I go here. Sometimes with these 4-ply yarns, it's kind of hard to get through all 3 without getting stuck. There we go. Okay. Just going to do a few here so you can see what having that half double crochet on top of the single crochet looks like. Let me finish a couple more here. Okay, so I just have a few of them in there, and you can see that just makes the border a little bit higher. The other thing I like about it is now you have a 2-tone border, because I have the you know, the yarn color has changed, obviously, and you have the lighter blue from before, and now you have the purple or the lavender on top of that, and you'll see that change as we go around. So if you want to do the half double crochet, stick with me, do your half double crochet all the way around. We'll meet you back here where we started that, and then we can finish it off. And now I have finished putting the half double crochets all the way around. I went back to the beginning stitch here that we were in and did a slip stitch there to finish out that last corner. And I am done. So I am just going to go ahead and fasten off, and then I'll weave in this end, and we will be done with this throw. So hopefully you will have seen that this is a really easy throw with very few stitches, and you should be able to finish this, you know, relatively quickly, maybe in a weekend or a few hours, depending on how fast you crochet. I really hope that you like this pattern, and please take a minute to like, comment, and subscribe on my channel. If you have any questions about this or need help with any of this, please don't hesitate to put a comment down below, and I will be sure to get back with you right away. But thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed.